and happy Wednesday. Welcome back to another episode of the Engler Journey podcast. I've officially returned from maternity leave. This is my first podcast back, so bear with us a little bit. I am so excited because I have one of my best friends, but also an Engler alum, and she's had a lot of experiences in the program and in the entrepreneurial ecosystem. So I'm really, really excited to have the ecosystem manager of the Combine, Miss Jessie Rudolph. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here and to chat with you and tell a little bit about my story.
I'm pumped because I know you as an alum, and in college we obviously graduated the same year, but also you're a friend, so it's really exciting to be able to sit down and just have a relaxed conversation with somebody who's the same age, who's going through similar things in life, kind of, but to a certain extent we get to relate on a lot of things.
Yes, I feel like we've been through a lot together, so it's fun when we just get to sit down and have a deep chat. It's kind of just like our everyday life.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I am really pumped, but I want the listeners and the entrepreneurs out there to get a sense of who you are and where you're from. I know this story, but there's also new things I learn all the time. Share a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and how you became the ecosystem manager at the Combine.
Yes, so I currently live in Lincoln, and can't believe I've lived in Lincoln for this long after college, but I'm originally from Gothenburg and really grew up in the agriculture industry, especially the beef industry, and participated a lot in 4-H and FFA while I was growing up. But kind of going forward to today, so my parents are still involved in agriculture, and my family has a cow-calf operation. So one thing in my career journey today is I still love to go back home when I can and help with the cows. Calving season is coming up for us, so I'm excited for that. So just love being around the cattle and still staying connected to agriculture. But since I live in Lincoln now, I currently work for the Combine, so it translates really well from my college career and experience in the Engler program, because now I get to work with ag tech startup founders in Nebraska, but also in the US, and we also do some international work as well. So I think it's a good way to combine my experiences. Right after college, I also worked for Nebraska Cattlemen. So that was my first job out of college. And since my family was always really involved with the beef industry, I really grew up going to our county cattlemen meetings and banquets. So my first job with NC was like the perfect fit for me. And I was there for about 3 years. So still really love being involved with the beef industry.
Yeah. So going back a little bit to when you were in Gothenburg and growing up, obviously the cow-calf operation, and you got to watch your dad really involved in the industry as well. How do you think those experiences have tailored to your mindset as an entrepreneur?
Yes. So we were always just really heavily involved with the beef cattle industry growing up. So our county cattleman affiliate was called the Dawson County Cattlemen. So when I was growing up, I always went to those meetings, and we would go to Nebraska Cattlemen meetings, and always went to the National Cattlemen's Convention as well. So really had this heavy kind of industry relations focus. So I feel like that was just a big thing for me growing up. And we started the cow-calf operation when I was in about junior high. So I was also showing cattle, so would work with show calves throughout the year. And then we kind of slowly grew this cow-calf operation. So now it's more of a medium-sized operation today, but I think there is an entrepreneurial piece of that as well, is just working with my parents to grow that operation to where it's larger now. And I feel like we've learned a lot with that over the years with just growing the cow herd, like learning what works when you're fencing, or learning what works best during calving season, and just going through some of those like really rewarding but also difficult moments with growing a cow-calf operation. So I'm kind of getting like an entrepreneurial piece with that as well.
Yeah. Do you have any, obviously you were in 4-H and FFA, so I know there's some entrepreneurial things you've done in both of those, but do you have like a memory from when you were little of selling bracelets or doing something entrepreneurial as a kid?
Yes. So since I was heavily involved with show cattle, that really took off for me like in junior high and high school. And when I was in high school, I started going to junior national shows in the show cattle world as well. So that's when it really kicked off for me. And I did end up with an entrepreneurial experience with that. When I was a senior, while we were growing the cow-calf herd, we were also raising a few of our own show calves. So we would artificially inseminate some of our females for some show cattle genetics. So we raised a few good calves through that, which was really exciting since we normally like bought show calves. But ended up having a really nice steer that I showed my senior year, and I even did like my senior pictures with this steer as well, and then ended up selling him to a young lady who took him to the Denver stock show. So that was a really exciting experience to kind of go through the process of actually selling a show calf and like seeing another young person have some success with it.
Love that. Love that. I remember that story when we were going through FFA together, now that you say that. Is there someone influential in your life who has really shaped that mindset for you that sticks out?
Yeah, I think a few people come to mind as far as the entrepreneurial experience. So my brothers both are entrepreneurs. So my oldest brother, Jason, is a lawyer in Gothenburg and Dawson County. And he first started working for other lawyers when he first got his law degree. And then after a few years, he decided to open his own law firm. And then my brother Brett is in real estate and insurance as well. And I think all of that kind of fits nicely with the cow-calf operation also with my parents. So we all kind of have these different ventures, but I'm trying to think outside of my family as well with who are the entrepreneurs who inspire me. Courtney Dayhoff comes to mind as well. She's kind of like a TV and social media personality, but she really coined the phrase fancy lady cowgirl.
I totally
So
heard this, yeah.
she's someone who I just admire her and see her on social media a lot. And I think the people who really inspire me are particularly in the beef industry, people who are really good advocates for the beef industry. Hannah Gunther up in Northeast Nebraska is another person who is always talking about beef and sharing beef recipes, and someone who I just love her energy. And there's plenty of people from the Engler program who are really inspirational as well. There's so many to think of. We were talking about Emily Herbig a little bit before this. She's a very inspirational person.
Lots of alum out there.
Could go on.
I was going to say there's so many alums and just so many people that have been a part of our journey together. So I totally feel you when you say that. Next, I wanted to kind of go into, you're an alum of this program as well. You graduated in May of 2021 and high school in 2017. So that's crazy. We're coming up on 10 years almost. I'm a little curious how, what was it like going through the program for you? Was there any experiences that really stick out?
Yes, I feel like we have really been on this journey together, both like with taking college classes and going through entrepreneurship together. So it's been fun to see that. And I think that kind of points to Engler has built this really amazing community. So I think in general, when I was in college, just going to Engler events and being around really fun and energetic people was always really fun. And you reminded me before this episode that we were also on the team for Essential 40 together right when it started. So I remember that was also really fun to try and create these events and experiences for other students in the program. I remember us like putting together speakers for that. And I remember distinctly you and I were like going to the dollar store, buying little trinkets that we were going to give out for an Essential 40. So I really remember just us trying to figure out like how to build these experiences for people. So I always loved that time in the program. But another thing that sticks out from the Engler program was the roadmap. I remember taking a class about your life roadmap with Tom Field, and I think I pull from that experience in that class all the time, because I remember Tom explaining to us and kind of inspiring us to create a visual of here is what one life path looks like, with here's one potential kind of career or job path for you, or here's what your route looks like if you're going to be full-on entrepreneur right when you graduate college or even when you're in college. So I always think about that, and I always kind of go back to like, is this the lifestyle that I want to lead, and is this what I want to do with my life and spend my time? Like, I probably think about that like once a week and really think back to even that class. And I think for me right now, like I am happy with my life and lifestyle, and it has taken a long time to get there as well. And I think I'm someone who I like to have a job and do meaningful work, but I also don't want to think about work 100% of the time. And I want to have a little bit of a life outside of work as well, where it's like totally different. And for me, part of that is not being back on our cow-calf operation 100% of the time, but I can kind of separate the two and do some work here, and just have my life in kind of separate compartments.
Yeah, I think it's really important to separate those two things and to have things outside of work that hold you accountable and keep you grounded, and the stuff that you enjoy, hobbies. It's really important. Has that mindset since you graduated shifted at all? Like, how long did it take you to realize that for yourself, where you're at? Yes,
I think that's a good question, because I think like coming from the Midwest, and then when you even go to college and you kind of are raised in this culture of just like work, where it almost is like you can be kind of addicted to your work. So I think right out of college, I was kind of on that path of like just being almost addicted to work and not really like realizing or being intentional about, well, what does like the rest of my life look like, and how do I really spend the 24 hours each day? So I think I've had to just learn how to create some boundaries internally of, here's the work that I do and this is great, but I also have an interesting life outside of that. And I think part of that too is having hobbies that are totally unrelated to your work, and even having something that's like, this is a hobby and I don't want to monetize it. And for me, like, I like taking pictures of our cows sometimes, or taking pictures at the feedlot. So I like to do photography just for fun. For you. And I think for me, another one of those things is using social media more, and just like having a creative outlet that doesn't have to do with money and is just for fun. I think that's become more important to me.
Right. Are there any other hobbies? Like, I remember you telling me one day that you make tallow, and I never knew that.
Yes, I would say that is another kind of hobby as well. Yeah. And I want to keep tinkering around with creating new batches of it and trying new scents of it. And I think for me, that's another kind of like creative outlet. And that's a good one too, because you don't need a screen. It's just you, and you're melting down this product to eventually like add value to it, and you don't need a screen. You're just kind of in that moment. So I would encourage people to have like screen-free hobbies as well.
Absolutely. And of course, your dog Dolly. Let's give a shout out to Dolly. What kind of dog is she again?
Yeah, Dolly definitely deserves a shout out. She is a mini Aussie Doodle, and she's like, she kind of fits into the hobby category as well, because like I love walking her every day, and that's another moment to like not have a screen in front of you and just go on a very like mind clearing walk. So she's so fun. She's a smaller dog, so she's like really easy to take care of, and I think animals are just like good for your mental health as well.
Absolutely. Well, so thinking back a little bit to the time in the program, you mentioned being a part of the culture team and really shaping what Essential 40s looked like, and they look really, really similar today, which is really fun that tradition has carried on. You took Roadmap. Another thing you helped shape was the Women's Initiative. Will you share a little bit about that and what it was like when you were in the program?
I remember back at that time, and I must have been a senior, there was some leadership change within the Women's Initiative, and it was kind of coming out that we needed somebody to at least take one part of that program and be able to put some time towards it. Yeah, to own it. And it was like totally unexpected for me at the time. I think later on in my senior year, like I wasn't as engaged anymore, and like kind of needed something to get me back to be engaged and like take some ownership. So we did, I think at the time it was called the Be Bold Initiative or program, and it was more about professional development. So we created an experience for a group of women in the program to go out to a small community and meet with women entrepreneurs in a rural area and kind of explore what the dynamics of that community were and tour the community and just get some mentoring from other women entrepreneurs. So I took that on at the time, and I think where that really has impacted me today is there was a lot of event planning that went into that experience, and now I use event planning in my job all the time and have done that in past jobs as well. And I think I found like in the past year that I really enjoy event planning, speaker coordination, even like managing the logistics for an event. So I think even from my time in the Engler program, it has led into a passion later on that I didn't realize that I had. Yeah. And I think another part of that is for people to kind of match your talents and skills with your passion. So I think I have gained more of a talent and skill in event planning and have kind of found that it's a passion as well. So I think if you can marry those things, like that is a good career path or even a potential business later on. Yeah.
Well, I know they're very blessed to have you at the Combine, especially knowing that you get to go back and maybe clean up a little bit. And that's what you were doing this morning. So they're very lucky to have you. Share a little bit about the Combine and the role that you play there.
Yes. So I think taking the role at the Combine was also a very unexpected twist in my journey for me. And I have to give credit to your husband, Josh, on getting me engaged with this job, because it has been such a blessing. And it's one of those things that when you're making a change in your life or a career change, I feel like it can come with a lot of hesitation. You're like, should I do this? There is kind of a risk there. Like I'm already providing for myself over here. Should I do something different when there are a lot of unknowns? So I think there are risks with any kind of life change like that. But it's been a great role, and I get to work with ag tech entrepreneurs, and I love that I am surrounded by founders in my job now who are so inspirational, and they have really just taken an idea and really had the courage to grow it into something. So that's who the Combine gets to support every day. So it's hard to not be inspired by those people.
Yeah, what does your day-to-day kind of look like right now?
Yes, so
I know it's different. Yeah, with like Ag Tech Connect coming up. I'm sure that's like a big thing in your role,
so kind of my day-to-day right now is always event planning. So we're heading towards a monthly cadence of events or workshops at the Combine. So I spend quite a bit of time with this event planning that I have found more of a passion for. And we're also working on one of our major conferences for the year that's coming up in July 2026, and it's called Ag Tech Connect. So we'll be putting a lot of effort into that over the next few months with working on the logistics, booking speakers, making sure the speakers have everything that they need, planning the food for it, all of those things that go into a major event. So I'm really excited about that. Yeah. And I also work on the Combine's partnerships within our entrepreneurial community. And then another piece of the job that I really like and am finding more of a passion for is the international engagement that we get to do. We've worked on recruiting international startups to have a location or even be headquartered here in Lincoln or Nebraska. So I really love that piece of it, and we'll be having international fellows into our office in spring of 2026 where they can kind of learn about how to fit into ag tech here in Nebraska and learn about Nebraska agriculture. We're also planning a virtual event with some counterparts in Australia.
Wow.
So might have some speaking opportunities coming up in the international landscape as well. And it's been roughly a year ago, I got to go to Berlin on a trip to learn about startups there because Berlin is a major startup hub. So I really love international travel and making international connections. So that's been a really fun part of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. I didn't realize all the little parts you were touching. What does your role look like working with some of the startups within the combine? Like, do you get to help or like maybe have like life conversations with them, or what does that kind of look like? Because every startup is in a different stage.
I feel like a lot of that for me lately has been more in the life conversations category. And I can even think I was talking to one of our entrepreneurs recently and just kind of talking to her about what does her life roadmap look like right now and how does her startup fit into that. So I think that's part of it. Or I think folks even just really want to be heard and talk about, hey, I'm struggling in this area. And if you can just listen to them, I think that goes a long way. So yeah, I think for me, it's been a lot more focused on just life conversations with our entrepreneurs. But one opportunity that I really enjoy with our entrepreneurs is either working on a pitch deck for them or even just proofreading a pitch deck or marketing materials. I'm a big proofreader, so love doing that.
Everybody needs a proofreader. One right here.
I would do that for free if you ever need it, because I do love that. We also recently just put together our annual report that we're going to be printing as well. So that took some major proofreading also, which was a lot of fun to put together. But for our entrepreneurs, I also love kind of working on some like PR type ideas for them. Like, hey, I have a connection to this magazine. I think this would be a great thing for you to have a piece in. Or yeah, just working on some of their marketing materials or giving them ideas there as well.
Yeah. Well, I think it's so important that you're in that space to, I know you called it a conversation, but you are a coach to them at the end of the day. Like, everybody needs a coach to simply facilitate a conversation. And that makes me think of Dave when we were in the program, and just, he listened. He didn't provide a lot of feedback. He didn't give a lot. He just asked questions to get us to the next stage and the next step. And a lot of times I bet that's what your entrepreneurs need, is seriously to just have a conversation about where they're at and someone to just listen. So I love that you said that. So with that coaching piece, is there anything else that you want to provide to the startups in the space of the combine that maybe they haven't done yet that you want to start?
Ooh, so one thing came to mind kind of related to that question, and then I'll get back to that in a moment. But I think the other part of the combine and what I love about the role is sometimes we have founders who come to us who have a great idea that relates to agriculture, but they might not really know about agriculture themselves or even just agricultural systems in Nebraska. And I think sometimes I kind of doubt myself, like, oh, I don't know like that much about X farming practice, because growing up here, it's almost like innate. Like you kind of, you know more about agriculture than you realize. Although, for example, my family didn't farm at all, so I don't know as much. But I think coming from ag, we should have more confidence that we do know what happens in agriculture here. So I think just being able to chat with founders about that, like, oh, this is how agriculture works in this part of the state, or this is what I'm seeing with this agricultural practice, and bringing it back to a real level. I really enjoy that part. So for further programming or things to work on at the combine, so I really love the international work that we get to do at the Combine. So back in November 2025, I had the amazing opportunity to go to Hanover, Germany for a large agricultural trade show, and it has a big emphasis on farm machinery. So I was really excited to go there, and I've learned a lot about our kind of ag tech incubator counterparts in the area. So there's an incubator in Hanover called Root Camp, and they were putting on startup pitch events at this large agricultural trade show. So it was really fun to meet other ag tech experts. So I think for the Combine, I want to increase our international ag tech relationships. And we do work on recruiting startups to Nebraska to learn about Nebraska market entry. So I'd love to see us put more emphasis on that and more of a structure for, if you're going to move to Nebraska or have a location here, here's what you need to live here. Here's how you set up a business here, and really put more of a structure around that. And then part of that as well, I would love to have further opportunities to talk about Nebraska agriculture to international audiences.
I think that is really inspiring to hear, because we went to Argentina and got to visit some of the companies there, and it's really cool to see what's happening around the world and how it supports Nebraska and our growers and our farmers and our ranchers. So we're not shy to the fact that there is funding cutting happening everywhere and all around us. I'm curious, what do you think is the biggest impact of the Combine on the state of Nebraska?
Yes.
Kind of a loaded question.
Yes. So one thing that I also love about the Combine that I haven't talked about as much is, I think the Combine is a good connector or gateway to just the idea of ag tech. I think amongst younger producers in Nebraska, they understand that ag tech, precision agriculture, that's something that's really going to be needed in their operations going forward. But I think for the Combine to just even support the idea of ag tech is really important, and the Combine is providing this infrastructure around the idea of ag tech. And I think for our bigger events like Ag Tech Connect, we'll also have a presence at the Nebraska Ag Expo, just really being a connector for producers to understand more about ag tech. But I think as far as the Combine's future, I would say I'm really excited and really thankful for all of the support that the Combine has received, and for us to be funded as a program in the future.
I think it's really important, and I've been firsthand able to see the impact the Combine has had and the companies that are growing there. Some of them are even our alumni, which is really exciting. I think, 3 total Engler alums have businesses in the Combine?
Yes. I think it's good I feel like the Combine has a little bit of a different but yet related initiative of the Engler program. So I love the cross collaboration that we get to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, as always, our lights shut off if you're watching this on YouTube, so bear with us. But you heard it, folks. If you need a free proofreader, Jessie is here for you. She's here to support you in your business and however that kind of looks. So I'm very thankful that you are serving the entrepreneurs of this state. It's very important work, and I don't take that lightly. So thank you so much. And thank you for being a dedicated alum as well and serving our students in the program always. Really appreciate and love having you around. But thanks for being on today.
Thank you for having me.
All right.